And we are back, and we are down to our last game of the match, which we may not survive, by the way. So, what is this deck? Well, I'm gonna show you in a few minutes, while our opponent is deciding on whether they're gonna keep their opening hand or not. But obviously they're on the play. It's our last match. It's a third game. They've decided to mulligan to 6, which is fine, especially for that kind of deck. Even if you mulligan to 5 or 4 even, it doesn't matter, because once they go off, that's basically it. So what is this deck? It's called the Goblin Charbelcher combo with, or you can call it all spells, another way of calling it. Why? Because this deck doesn't have a single land in it. So they normally play or starts with a game like this where they play a land that comes into play tap. However, in my experience, because I've been playing this guy for about a couple of games now, a couple of matches, and he is consistently casting Blood Moon over me, over and over again. So look at my opening hand. I do have Aethergast, I have Remand. I am well equipped to battle this.
Oh no!
However, as I have explained earlier, this is what normally happens. At least we play it in turn 2. And again, I've been playing this guy for a couple more matches earlier. So I'm kinda in a losing situation now, because all our lands here are useless now. You can't use Hallowed, you can't use Watery Grave. Even if we do have Aethergust and Remand, it's useless. It is not that I kept a very bad hand. Again, I have Aethergust. If only I managed to get my turn back, or my second turn back, I could have at least countered it and maybe survive, or maybe even win this game. But at this point, oh, I think he's gonna combo out. Imagine how quick this, oh yeah, this guy's gonna combo out. So that's 7 mana open, floating, I mean, casting Goblin Charbelcher, tapping it for 3, and then hitting me in the face for about 30 damage or so. And that's it. I lost. So let me show you a breakdown of this deck. Let me show you a replay of one of our matches. And I'll also show you how you can somehow survive and even win against this deck. So let's go. So first thing that you need to have is to at least have a way to get a basic. And at this point, looking at my hand, I do have an Aethergust, so it's somewhat, I was like thinking, yeah, maybe we can, hopefully we can. And then he's doing the same thing that he's doing, which is to play a land, tap. We're hoping that he doesn't cast anything that will allow him to cast Blood Moon on turn 2. And he pretty much gone through the motion of making a bunch of mana. Good thing is, he casted Recross the Paths. This is his way of like arranging his deck so he can get the Goblin Charbelcher. And then we kind of do it all over again. So the good news is, and the first thing that must not happen is for him to cast Blood Moon, because we're done, just like what you've seen earlier. Since he didn't, we now have a chance to start digging our deck for some answers and getting something out of it. And since we do have a blue land, a Mystic Sanctuary available, kinda sacrificed my ghost quarter to get a basic island. Yep, that's how desperate we are. We have Aether Gust to counter. I did decide to cast it just to delay him for a turn. He will recross the path over and over again until he gets his Goblin Charbelcher, which is the engine of the deck, which is the card that he needs to end our game. And since we managed to pull off and get to turn 4 and get pretty much 4 lands and 3 basic lands, we're in a kind of safe situation. So now, he decided to cast Goblin Charbelcher. He doesn't have Blood Moon. We have a way to answer, and that is counter it with Cryptic Command. So far, so good. Now we do have another land, a very good draw, Flooded Strand. This will allow us to get Cryptic Command from our graveyard back into our library, so we do have another counter spell available. And if he decides to cast Goblin Charbelcher, we still have Archmage Charm to counter it. And now, all we gotta do is to fetch for Mystic Sanctuary, get our Cryptic, put it back in our top of our library, draw it on our draw phase, and pass the turn. And then we can also destroy one of their lands. Again, this is all spells. So if we destroy one of the lands that they manage to play, especially the red one, that's a good deal. Recross the path, we can let that go. We can ask he can keep on casting it for as long as he is not casting the Goblin Charbelcher, because that's how we're going to lose. He can also cast Blood Moon if he wants to, but at this point we're we can't let it go. And now we have a couple of Cryptic Commands, so whatever it is that he's going to cast, and since we do have a Snapcaster in play, we're all set. We can counter that, bounce our Mystic Sanctuary, and then the next turn we can cast Cryptic, draw, and the cycle will continue. And at this point, he figured that out, and our opponent decided to end the game. Which lead us to the game that happened just a few minutes ago. The last game, the last match, where we basically lost, which is fine. So that's what the deck is. That's how crazy that combo is. And if you like this video, see you again in the next episode. Ciao.